I'm spilling all my secrets. Here are 10 cool plugins I used on my song Future Man. And if you use them, I'm sure you can also make a song that's going to get tens of streams. I'm only going to show paid plugins in this video. Stay tuned for exactly the same thing about free plugins. Also, I already made a video talking about these free drums. Let's start. The first plugin I want to show is hidden in this vocal stack.
We are Future Man, Future Man.
This iconic sound sounds like it's just stacked vocals, but actually I'm using iZotope's VocalSynth too. And every time I talk about iZotope, I have to also mention the lack of resizability. Look how tiny this plugin looks, and it's not resizable, and it's by the biggest plugin company out there. But it sounds good.
We are Future Man, Future Man.
Stacked with some vocals.
We are Future Man, Future Man.
Second plugin, I used UJAM's Groovemate One, but in a very kind of superfluous, subtle way. My productions are always messy. Let's hide the automations. Groovemate One only plays in this verse, and what it plays is only this. That goes hard. It makes more sense with some drums. Let's mute it. I wanted this quarter note forward momentum. I wanted some additional high-end atmosphere. I'm using it with an M reverb, and without it, it's definitely a lot more boring. And with reverb. Let's move on to plugin number 3. This is maybe the most important plugin of the song. Electrix by Sampleson. And this might be the vibiest electric piano plugin that you can find. This is very processed though. Let's also listen to the dry signal. And with all the effects. Plugin number 4. Klevgrand's Reamp. So this is the bass with Electrix. I think this goes hard. But talking about the bass, I'm using a whole bunch of effects on it. But this reamp is kind of the only thing that gets it from a simple DI to something approaching an amped sound. I'm using the tube bass amp model. This is bypassed. And with. Without. Without. With. This is just a multiband saturator with some different models. I love working with this plugin. Already at number 5, I did use IK Multimedia's White 2A, LA 2A emulation on the drums. Without. Let me try to level match it a bit better. It makes it just a bit more sticky, right? Dense. But I have a huge issue with it. On a different source, I was getting weird clicks and I had to replace it. Plugin number 6 can be found on these guitars. Let me take off the reverb. I used this epic plate and I panned it to the left. You can see it here. So you kind of get this counterweight of the guitar in the right ear and the reverb of it in the left ear. But the plugin I want to show you is... It's a native instrument, so it's going to take a while to load, but it's a Guitar Rig 6. And I honestly didn't have that much time. I recorded the guitarist Ian of my band at Barron Lane, and I had to come up like with some sort of slightly distorted guitar tone, and I used Guitar Rig and it stuck to the end. I never adjusted it again. I think it sounds really good. let's talk about plugin number 7. Let's go back to the drums. Here I'm using MTurboReverb with this drums small plate preset, and without it, it sounds like this. And without, with. I think it just gives it a nice additional dimension without being too in your face. Now for plugin number 8. There's kind of a nearly orchestral synth solo towards the end of the song, and it has a whole bunch of different layers. And as you can see, 3 of them are played by the M1 plugin. We have this layer with an organ. Next up, we have this layer with... This was actually originally in here on mistake, but I liked the sound of it. This is kind of the default preset, a combi with multiple different layers, some strings, some vocals, but I think it fit into the mix very nicely. And then also some dedicated strings from the M1, and all 3 M1 plugins together sound like this. And this leads us nicely to plugin number 9. I used Melda's MSoundFactory with power strings as another layer in this kind of orchestral synth solo section. See, there's some key switches in there. And then we have another cool plugin that I layered in this section, Cherry Audio's Dreamsynth. The preset Garden of Eden, and it's just kind of giving some high texture to the whole thing. And a counter melody with like a bell sound. There's even more cool plugins in this section, but those are free, so we'll talk about those in a different video. Alright, these are 10 cool plugins that I used on my song Future Man. I hope you enjoyed the video. As I mentioned, it already has like tens of streams, but with your help, maybe this number can go a bit higher. Thanks for watching, and consider subscribing so you don't miss the video about free plugins in this song. See you again soon.